when the rookie overshot his pit stall by just 1 foot. He also overshot any chance at the win. With Johnson out of the way, it became a two-car standoff between Roush Racing teammates Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth. Martin held the point with a smooth-handling car. He relied on lap traffic to slow Kenseth's charge. After 73 races, Mark Martin was back in victory lane, his 33rd career win, along with $1 million bonus check.
That is the hardest I've ever drove in my life and won. I've drove that hard before and got beat, but Matt was putting the pressure on me, and I wanted to win it so bad.
But the youth movement was not finished. The lights of Charlotte now dark. It was time for a trip up the coast to Delaware, and time to welcome Jack Roush back to the track. The Dover International Speedway is a tight-turned 1-mile concrete circuit known by teams and fans alike as the Monster Mile, a monster that snacks on 3,400-pound stock cars. The 400-mile race seemed destined to be won by a veteran, as Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon, and Bill Elliott all took turns at the front. But it was Jimmy Johnson who was once again at the point in the waning laps. Determined not to lose another race on pit road, Johnson's number 48 stayed put with 30 laps to go as everyone else ducked in for fresh tires. Rudd was quickly done in by a loose wheel after the final stop. Elliott staged a furious charge on his new Goodyears. But no one had enough to catch Johnson. He grabbed his second win in 3 races. He moved into second in the point standings, behind Sterling Marlin. The season's first trip to the mountains of Pocono got off to a wet start, and it wasn't even raining. Saturated earth from a cloudburst the previous day sent water springing from beneath the Turn 3 asphalt. Qualifying was washed out. The field was established by point standings, and the track was barely broken in by race morning. Experience would become the key, and the veterans of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series took center stage, led by a former champion who hadn't visited victory lane in over a year. Drivers 30 and older led 178 of the race's 200 laps as the veterans silenced the young guns for 500 Pocono miles. Mark Martin and crew chief Ben Leslie gambled on fuel mileage. They were undone by a late caution for debris. That set up a Robert Yates Racing Team battle for the win.
For the lead.
With just 6 laps remaining, the potential for a classic clash was flattened by an unruly tire.
Yeah, I'm really hating it right now. I'm glad to be here, but my teammate's having some terrible luck right now. Ricky Rudd did a great job last week, got himself in a position to win, then had the unfortunate problem with the tire, and then today here. Don't think I could have caught him. We were just so equal, and it's really hard when you're trying to run down another Robert Yates engine, and makes it difficult.
Matt Kenseth earned 2 early wins at Rockingham and again at Texas, but was in free fall through the point standings as he arrived at Michigan in June. A Father's Day trip to the home state of boss Jack Roush would be just what the doctor ordered.
Green flag, let's crank it up for you on this restart.
After a long day of strategy, fuel calculations, and teamwork on pit road, Elliott Sadler's spin with 4 laps to go brought out the red flag. It set up a 3-lap shootout to the finish.
Jarrett is there, going after Newman.
I believe he's got it, boys. He has those 4 fresh tires. He's going to take second position.
I think going for the win.
He's going to go to the outside.
Where?
Here he comes.
Go to block.
Here he comes. Kenseth's going to try to block him.
Jarrett going for 2 in a row. Matt Kenseth leads it. Jarrett looks low. No. Kenseth to win it.
still 3 races shy of the season's halfway mark, the third-year driver already had 3 trophies on his mantle. After 5 months of left turns, it was time for a change of pace and scenery. The newly renamed Infineon Raceway is a 10-turn road trip through the rolling wine country of Northern California. Road racing is an art mastered by a truly elite group of Winston Cup drivers. It's the only style of racing that brings out the one-race hired guns. Turning left and right seems simple enough. It's something we all do every day, but not at 120 miles per hour. Early on, attrition was high. Points leader Sterling Marlin lost power steering, then his engine. He finished 43rd. 3-time Sonoma winner Jeff Gordon finished 37th with a failed rear end gear. Michigan winner Matt Kenseth met the same fate, finished 39th. When the dust cleared, the unlikeliest of leaders was cruising toward a win. Connecticut's Jerry Nadeau, pinch hitting for Steve Grissom in Richard Petty's number 44 Dodge, was nursing a 5-second lead over Ricky Rudd with just 2 laps to go. The dream ended and reality set in.
And it's over. What happened?
It blew up. I heard him say it was blowing up.
The glass slipper broke for Jerry Nadeau.
That's such a shame.
After heartbreak at Richmond, Dover, and Pocono, Ricky Rudd finally saw a break go his way and won at Infineon for the 2nd time. Nadeau could only imagine what might have been.
It always seems to happen to me. Oh man, last year we ran out of fuel at Atlanta. Should have won that race with 1 to go. Chicago, same thing, we lead in the race. I tell you what, the guys gave me an awesome race car.
Ricky Rudd barely had time to celebrate his Sears Point win. His mind was already focused on his future. Car owner Robert Yates had announced that Elliott Sadler would be moving over from Wood Brothers Racing in 2003, reportedly to drive Rudd's car. It was a move that would kickstart one of the wildest silly seasons in recent memory. And as Rudd weighed his options for the next season, the entire garage waited for other shoes to drop. Nearly half a year after the season had started at Daytona, it was time to return to the beach. Only now it would be under the lights. Like restrictor plate clockwork, the 2-car tandem of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Waltrip were once again dominating at a superspeedway. Waltrip took the lead for the first time on lap 61. He never looked back, leading 99 of the race's final 100 laps.
Here you go. This is it, guys. Jarrett, Nemechek, Jeff Burton, Mike Skinner. It's over. Car hard up into the wall, joined by another.
They just keep wrecking.
One by one, potential contenders fell by the wayside as Waltrip continued to set a furious pace. He kept a hammerhead's bite on the top spot.
4 laps to go. Whoa, Jeff Bodine gets into time. They saved it.
With the laps counting down, Earnhardt made a bold move for the win, but instead found himself out of the draft, hung out to dry. With 3 laps to go, Waltrip's win was sealed.
Cars are all over the place again.
Ryan Newman in the 12 car. Dave Blaney in the 77 as well.
The red flag was not shown. Waltrip collected his 2nd career win and his first since the ill-fated Daytona 500 55 races ago.
I'm real proud for all my boys. I'm real proud for Slugger. He just worked on this car till he made sure it was faster than everybody else's. And man, we won the race. We fended off a challenge from our teammate, so nobody can say we just held formation.
I think I should have followed him, but all the guys in the pits, they put a lot of effort behind this car, and they want to celebrate a victory because they know the car's capable of doing it. But I was kind of about the same position Michael was in Talladega.
All but forgotten during the summer was the 2001 version of the young gun, Kevin Harvick. Since being parked by NASCAR at Martinsville, the 26-year-old had struggled to stay in the top 30 in points. A win at Chicago 1 year early had been the crowning achievement of his amazing rookie campaign. Since that day, however, he was winless, prompting Richard Childress to swap his crew with teammate Robbie Gordon. It was time to return to the Windy City, time to return the wind to Harvick's sails.
75,000 on their feet for the green flag. The Tropicana 400 is underway.
Rookie Ryan Newman was once again on the pole, with Harvick starting back in 39th. On a restart with 70 laps to go, Harvick steered his Chevy down into turn 1 on the apron.
Oh, can he save it? Oh, he's still out of shape. No, yeah, he's going to find it. He went for a mile, but he finally made it.
Oh, behind him, too.
After the caution, the GM Goodwrench car blasted its way through the pack, taking the lead with 24 laps to go.
The fuel is going to hold up, and Kevin Harvick is going to come to the start-finish line and take the checkered flag. His third Winston Cup win. He wins the Tropicana 400 for a second straight year.
Some called his apron dance daring, others foolish. But it was the maneuver that put Harvick back in victory lane for the first time in 35 races.
Things have been going good last few weeks, and just haven't had the real finishes to show for it. People in the garage have seen it. I mean, we've seen it. Richard Childress had a lot of faith in me. Fans had a lot of faith in all of us, and you know, I don't know where the rest of them finished, but it was a good day for RCR, a good weekend for RCR, and I just can't wait to go celebrate this one.
As the Winston Cup Series traveled up I-95 to New England, Daytona 500 winner Ward Burton found himself immersed in a ghastly slump. He had found the top 10 only twice since Daytona and finished 30th or worse a heartbreaking 10 times in 18 races. The New Hampshire International Speedway represented new hope, a new start, and sported a track surface with brand new asphalt inside its tight, flat corners. In the early stages of that 300-mile event, that asphalt began to come up in chunks. Cars began to careen toward Loudon's white walls, and Goodyear tires were cut to ribbons by blacktop marbles. No one, not even race leaders, were immune.
Matt Kenseth is the leader. Ward Burton is second. Look at this, Ward Burton on Kenseth for the lead.
Burton took the lead with 9 laps to go. He held off upstart Jeff Green for his second win of the season. He had started the day 31st and was still 25th in the point standings. On a day when almost no one was happy, Ward Burton could finally celebrate again. "19 races into the 2002 season, 13 different drivers had visited Victory Lane, and another 30 were becoming anxious to add their names to the list. The season's second trip to the Poconos might well have been in a time machine. On the pole for the second consecutive weekend was the oldest regular in the field, Bill Elliott. But it was 2 youngsters who took the most memorable ride of the day.
Oh, trouble! Steve Park is off into the infield. Another car valve over on his lid. It's Parkindale Jr. Terrible crash.
Both Park and Earnhardt Jr. walked away from their 2-car demolition derby. When the race restarted 1 hour later, Sterling Marlin led 75 laps to nearly double his point lead over Mark Martin. But it was Elliott who earned his 42nd career win in a race shortened by sundown.
Bill Elliott bringing it home for Ray Evernham and Dodge as Elliott wins the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono.
Awesome Bill would not have to wait long for win number 43. Before there was a Martinsville, a Darlington, or even a Daytona International Speedway, there was Indianapolis. Since 1909, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway had truly been the racing capital of the world. Entering just its 9th edition, The Brickyard 400 had already become the second most prestigious event on the calendar, trailing only the Daytona 500. A win at Indy would add one's name to the list of America's racing immortals. Names still absent from that list included the famous monikers of Wallace, Martin, Marlin, and Elliott. Indiana's native son, Tony Stewart, was on the pole, becoming the first driver to start at the point of both the 400 and the Indianapolis 500. The track's new soft wall safety system was tested, and tested early, by Brett Bodine. Again by Kurt Busch, after yet another tangle with Jimmy Spencer.
Been having troubles with turn 3 this weekend. In qualifying we spun, and that put us in a bad position. Back there with the decrepit old has-beens, I guess. It's just been a tough way. I mean, when he calls out what he's going to do and then actually goes out there and does it, I mean, I guess he's a never-was is really the term that we need to bring up today. But real unfortunate, we had the car to beat. We were going to the front, Rubbermaid, very sorry about it. We'll go back and work at it next week. I mean, it's tough when you bump somebody at 100 miles an hour, and then when they come back and bump at 200 miles an hour. So if that's the way that Jimmy Spencer is, we know how he is, and we're not going to play like that.
Dale Jarrett's chances at a third Brickyard win slipped out of his hands and out of the hands of his crew when a tag-along catch can brought a back-breaking penalty. As the laps were counted down, the sport's biggest names had placed themselves front and center on the season's biggest stage. Over the final 30 laps, Mark Martin relinquished the lead to Stewart, who gave way to Wallace. With 11 laps to go, it was Bill who was awesome once again.
Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, and now Bill Elliott joins the list of winners of the Brickyard 400 at Indy.
Just 2 years earlier, critics had questioned Ray Evernham's decision to hire a driver who had begun his career during the Jimmy Carter administration. If the doubters had any questions on this day, they would have to be asked on the world's most famous piece of racing real estate, Victory Lane at Indianapolis.
I owe an awful lot to these guys and the people that died. It just means a lot, man.
This place is very special, isn't it?
It really is.
I'm so proud of these guys and what they've done and what they've accomplished. It makes my job awful easy, but I'll tell you what, it says a lot for the guys here and all the guys back at the shop that put these things under me week in and week out. This is the greatest, man. This is the greatest.
Stewart faded to a 12th place finish, but still made headlines after the race with his physical confrontation with a local photographer. Apologies and fines would soon follow, but it was a moment that would haunt Stewart for the remainder of the season. The King, Richard Petty, once said that winning can't cure all of a man's problems, but can sure make him feel like it did. With that philosophy in mind, Stewart and company headed to the Finger Lakes region of upper New York State. Winding through the farms above Seneca Lake lies the fabled Watkins Glen Road Course. From Formula One legends to Jeff Gordon, drivers from all eras of racing have visited the Glen's historic Victory Lane. On this day, it was a pair of Indiana natives who would slug it out for a piece of that coveted real estate. Late in the race, Ryan Newman was in front, but he had a rear view mirror full of Home Depot orange. With 17 laps remaining, Stewart made his move.
Tony Stewart inside of Ryan Newman, now outside as they turn the corner.
And takes the lead.
Even on a late restart with 1 lap to go, no one was catching Stewart, who capped a weekend of controversy the only way a driver knows, by chasing down a checkered flag.
When you destroy your race team and you hurt your sponsor as bad as I have, you can't blame them for looking somewhere else and thinking about switching drivers. But Bob Nardelli, the CEO of Home Depot, is probably one of our biggest fans and one of my best friends. And all the people at Home Depot and Joe Gibbs Racing, I mean, they just don't give up, and that shows their attitude. They just never give up. So I'm not going to give up on them.
Next in 2002, a return to Michigan. Points leader and defending race champion Sterling Marlin was beginning to feel the heat. both from a sweltering August sun, and Mark Martin, who was now just 53 points back. But it was the 88 car that had numerology on its side. On lap 11, Dale Jarrett's disappointing season got a little worse. He spun through the infield grass. He damaged the nose of his Ford Taurus. But on the 11th anniversary of his first career win, which came at Michigan, Jarrett would not be denied. With the help of some cool-headed pit strategy from his Robert Yates Racing crew, DJ picked his way through the field, making up 4 positions over the race's final 11 laps to take his second win of the season. For nearly a year, the impossible kept happening. Jeff Gordon was not winning races. Entering late August, the defending NASCAR Winston Cup champion had gone 31 races without a victory.
I love what I do. I love getting out there in the race car, but I love to win, you know, and winning makes things a lot more fun. And so, you know, I'm not going to be really having as much fun as I could until I get into victory lane. And I think this team feels the same way. I think everybody's, you know, doing an A+ job. They are doing the best job that we could possibly ask for. That doesn't mean we can't, you know, get better. A little bit of luck wouldn't hurt, but, you know, I believe, you know, you make your own luck. And this is a strong team that knows how to stick together and get through, you know, some of the bumpy times. And I don't know if you can appreciate the good times, you know, as much until you go through some of the tougher times. And I can tell you we're appreciating those good times a lot right now. We'd appreciate a win a whole lot.
When the Rainbow Warriors returned to Thunder Valley, their driver assured them that nothing and no one would stand in their way. Beneath a spectacle of lights and a sea of race fans, Jeff Gordon was poised to make a champion statement. Sterling Marlin was assessed a penalty for a runaway jack, but he kept his points lead intact with a 7th place finish. Meanwhile, tempers flared and heel pads flew as hard-nosed short-track racing left sheet metal bent and egos bruised.
Oh! And Jimmy Johnson gets turned right in the front of Mark Martin.
Robbie, they're going to come in and hold you for 2 laps.
What? It's not right, because he missed the gear shift. They're going to hold me for 2 laps.
I'm just telling you what they said.
I mean, why are they going to do that, Richard? I drove my butt off all day long, and he missed the gear shift, and I'm in trouble.
Just like every form of racing he's ever been in, it's always somebody else's fault. He had me turn sideways before we even took the green. I didn't even have a chance to grab a gear. He was beating my bumper cover off me coming to the green because he wanted to restart in front of me. I'm trying to get my lap back as well, so he's just crying up a river like he always does. It's a shame. We got a chance to win the championship and we get spun out before we even take the green on a restart. It's wrong.
2 laps to go. Jeff Gordon found himself 1 position away from breaking his slump. Rusty Wallace was the poor soul occupying that position.
Ooh, Rusty didn't get off a 2 at all that time. Here comes Gordon, right up against the back bumper. Everybody in the crowd on their feet.
And 3 laps to go. Slow the traffic, I think, caused that right there.
Here comes Gordon, right up to the bumper again.
Did you hear that wheel spin, Benny? Yeah, I did hear that wheel spin.
The bump and run.
There it is.
Gordon underneath to the lead. 2 laps to go.
Gordon's winless drought was over. It was time to get a new kind of streak started. In the 53rd running of the Southern 500, it was a pack of former Darlington winners who waited out the rain, then dominated the day racing on the Lady in Black. It began with 5-time winner Bill Elliott, who led 43 of the race's first 90 laps. Elliott was joined at the front by fellow former Lady Tamers Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Burton, and Sterling Marlin. But in the end, It was Gordon who once again took the checkers. His record-tying 5th Southern 500 win, his second victory in as many weeks. A win that moved him into 2nd position in the points, just 91 in back of Sterling Marlin. On the night of September 7th, NASCAR paused to honor the heroes of that same week, 1 year earlier. The result was a pre-race ceremony at the Richmond International Raceway that proved to be one of the most stirring moments in NASCAR Winston Cup history.
The NASCAR community will join all of America over the next few days in remembering September 11, 2001. We stand here tonight in honor of all those who fell victim that tragic day in Pennsylvania, in Washington, and in New York.